guys, and welcome to a new series on the Lore and Tea podcast. I'm joined with Legendet, as always. What do you got for tea today?
I got a red raspberry, which is actually very interesting.
I got an orange something or rather, but yeah, pretty good. Anyways, for anybody that might be new, we are Lore and Tea. We're a podcast that tries to sort of simulate being like a chill club for all things geeky. It being the spooky month of October, we wanted to start a new series that sort of delves into a very popular horror franchise. Of course, you'd already know if you clicked on the video, Five Nights at Freddy's. What's FNAF known for, Legendet? Surely you know.
For its video games and
It
jump
is
scares.
known for the lore. It's a huge.
Okay.
Did you genuinely not? Did you? Okay, well, it's the whole reason we're here today. It's the whole reason we're here today. Okay. Well, this is a perfect setup because what I want to do here is I've sort of been in the weeds of FNAF lore for the past few years. I've listened to like tons of YouTube theories. I've been all over the space on YouTube. I love making lore videos on my personal channel. I haven't made much on FNAF, but I love following it, like other people's theories. But now it is actually time to start delving into our own. And what's cool about this is Legendet here is a little bit out of the loop for the most part when it comes to the hardcore theorizing. She has seen the movie, but that's about it, and that was a while ago. So with her, it's going to be pretty interesting because she's like a fresh set of eyes, a fresh brain to theorize. We're going to approach this with someone new, basically. Do you have anything to say on that, Legendet?
Honestly, I'm just excited to like come up with my own theory because I really only know random stuff like from the movie and like I don't know.
And the games are so different. There's so much to it too. And I hope for this to be like an ongoing series. So we'll kind of go into the different FNAF media as they've released. So of course we'll get to the books, the movies, the interviews, the posts. I'm gonna drag you through the weeds of the FNAF lore. We're gonna go to the most confusing depths. It's going to be absolutely great. And it'll probably be good for me too to do some of my own studying, and we'll probably turn this into some like video essay content on my mainline channel as well, in addition to this this podcast here. But anyway, yeah, so that's sort of the setup. I have a little document that I'm going to keep track of Legendet's interpretations, theories, and thoughts as we go. So it's sort of simulating like FNAF is starting all over again, right? Because there's a lot of things that you piece together in the lore retroactively with information you have now that you never would have had back in the day. So Legendet is sort of going to go installment by installment, and we're going to simulate basically experiencing FNAF for the first time again, which will be pretty interesting. Like, it had tried to end many times. It tried to end at 3, it tried to end at 4. We thought it was over at like FNAF 6 and Pizzeria Simulator, Ultimate Custom Night, that kind of thing. Basically, the story has gone through many different ways of perceiving it as a whole. And with Legendet here, we're going to stop at the intervals of our analysis and see what she thinks the lore is at every stop, right? So I think this will be very, very interesting. As the guy who has sort of been inundated with a lot of the theorizing on YouTube, I'm going to take a step back of giving my interpretational input, theorizing input, leave that to Legendet here, and be more of the guide. I'm going to ask, specific questions to try to not get a specific answer, but guide her towards what we're supposed to be thinking about, or what's exactly confusing or mysterious, or what I know, that is popular questions among the fan base as we go into the games. For all this, we're going to be using resources such as Hyperdroid's Ultimate Guide that he wrote, the FNAF Wikipedia, the FNAF Archive, FNAFlore.com, and then just some YouTube footage videos of the game. And we're going to try to delve into any part of it that matters for the lore, basically. How are you feeling, Legendet? You excited about this?
I'm super excited. Let's go.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so where better to start than FNAF 1? That's where the whole thing began. The simple background is Scott Cawthon was an indie game developer. He was sort of at his end of the line of video game development. He had some other games before this. Got some feedback on that. I think his robot designs are a bit creepy or uncanny. That inspired him to sort of double down on that concept of creepy robots. And then the concept of FNAF was born. And of course he dropped it, sort of thinking, I think the consensus is he sort of thought it was going to be like he might have even said this, he thought it was going to be like his last game, making last effort, right? And then it absolutely blew up, thanks to it being a pretty unique game at the time, and of course, big YouTubers really latching onto it. There was a quite an interesting growth process that FNAF went through. But anyway, this is FNAF 1. At this time, this was all that there was. There's not a ton of lore here. Like, we all talk about how it's confusing, and you'll see that as we progress. This first game is pretty simple in comparison to the rest of the series. But nonetheless, it did make an effort to have a story, which I think was one of the things that really caught people's lingering attention. And of course, now it is the absolute beast of, theory content that it is today. Anyway, we'll start with the just a teaser image. Usually, sometimes there's more. As we get longer into the series, teaser images will be more important. Right now, it's just showing, the cover of it, just showing Freddy. Nothing too important to look at here, but yeah. First, we'll watch the trailer. Now, this is mostly gameplay because, like I said, at the time, it wasn't necessarily known for being a lore beast. But we're gonna watch it just to get our feet wet, right? So obviously not a whole ton there, but thoughts on that initially, Legendet?
I mean, it doesn't really give you much lore, right? It really just shows the main idea of the game, that there's gonna be like
Right.
living animatronics basically that move around.
Yeah,
And you're
I
gonna
mean
have to
clearly
survive,
it's more.
right?
Yeah, clearly it's more gameplay focused. From this, would you have guessed anything about like it's going to have any sort of deeper lore other than there's just that there's weird animatronics trying to get you? Like if you just watch this trailer,
Probably not.
knowing you kind of want to get
I
the
would
game,
have
you're just
just
like, yeah,
I would have just thought, oh, this is gonna be a one-time game, like it's gonna
yeah,
be what it is. Not much lore to it, just it's living
yeah.
animatronics.
You'd assume it's mostly like a
Haunted.
gameplay oriented, situation. All
Yeah.
right, yeah.
The thing that
So,
was interesting
hmm,
Sorry, the thing that was interesting was the when he like took off his mask. I didn't expect to see that in the first trailer.
and that like doesn't happen in the game, which is funny about that. It's a very
Hmm.
interesting thing. Anyway, let's get into the probably the first thing that matters at all. The newspaper that says "Help Wanted." Here we have something that says Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, family pizzeria looking for security guard to work the night shift 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Monitor cameras, ensure safety of equipment and animatronic characters. Not responsible for injury or dismemberment.
Oh, dismemberment. That's great.
Yeah, I wonder why you'd get dismembered. It can't be that dangerous. I'll take the job. I need
Can't
it.
be. Yeah,
And then,
you got some kids at home. You need to take the
right?
job. There.
Yeah,
One.
true. And then $120 a week. Now that might be important later on, just for figuring out timelines of when this might occur. But we'll discuss that later. And actually, from there, we probably just get into the phone calls, right? Each night.
Yeah.
Because the nice thing about this is we don't have to play the game for hours to get all the stuff. We can just look it up.
Yeah, so as of right now, I'd be thinking like you're just some like guy who really needs a job and you see that there's a night shift and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll take it. And then for some reason it's haunted.
Yeah. Would you even think it's haunted at this point before like getting into the like secret stuff that it shows? Because that's how we like I know from the movie. The
Like,
movie makes it clear. But like
yeah, I mean just like haunted as like a very broad term. Like I wouldn't think
okay.
anything specific. Just like they just are living robots or something. Like, I don't know if I think
Okay.
AI or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
I would think they're just like they were programmed weird or they're malfunctioning, right? Just like if I just saw the trailer. Like I probably wouldn't think ghost kids, which I've been dancing around saying because we
No.
haven't got to the thing yet, but we all know like, if you know anything about FNAF, you know they're possessed, so that's not necessarily a thing you have to figure out. But anyway, do you want to hear the phone calls, or do you want me to read the transcript?
We should hear him.
Hear him? All right. I'll show the transcript right here, so you can read if you want.
Hello? Hello? I wanted to record a message for you to help you get settled in on your first night. I actually worked in that office before you. I'm finishing up my last week now, as a matter of fact, so I know it can be a bit overwhelming, but I'm here to tell you there's nothing to worry about. You'll do fine. So let's just focus on getting you through your first week, okay? Let's see. First, there's an introductory greeting from the company that I'm supposed to read. It's kind of a legal thing, you know. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life. Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for damage to property or person. Upon discovering that damage or death has occurred, a missing person report will be filed within 90 days or as soon as property and premises have been thoroughly cleaned and bleached and the carpets have been replaced. Blah, blah, blah. Now, that might sound bad, I know, but there's really nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night, but do I blame them? No. If I were forced to sing those same stupid songs for 20 years and I never got a bath, I'd probably be a bit irritable at night too. So remember, these characters hold a special place in the hearts of children and we need to show them a little respect, right? Okay. So just be aware, the characters do tend to wander a bit.
Here comes like one of the biggest things in early theorizing
mode at night. Something about their servos locking up if they get turned off for too long. They used to be allowed to walk around during the day too, but then there was the bite of 87. Yeah. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know? Now, concerning your safety, the only real risk to you as a night watchman here, if any, is the fact that these characters, if they happen to see you after hours, probably won't recognize you as a person. They'll most likely see you as a metal endoskeleton without its costume on. Now, since that's against the rules here at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, they'll probably try to forcefully stuff you inside a Freddy Fazbear suit. Now, that wouldn't be so bad if the suits themselves weren't filled with cross beams, wires, and animatronic devices, especially around the facial area. So you can imagine how having your head forcefully pressed inside one of those could cause a bit of discomfort and death. The only parts of you that would likely see the light of day again would be your eyeballs and teeth when they pop out the front of the mask. Yeah, they don't tell you these things when you sign up. But hey, first station of the breeze. I'll chat with you tomorrow. Check those cameras and remember to close the doors only if absolutely necessary. Gotta conserve power. Alright, good night.
Good night.
Alright, so that was phone call 1. Just to sort of get us primed in the theorizing mood, what things in that were important would you extract out as mattering to the lore?
The bite of 87.
Bite of 87 is one. So that was a big thing back in the day, right? Right, because he doesn't say who did the bite of 87, what caused the bite of 87. What else here might be a significant lore element?
The endoskeleton thing?
Right, so they shove them inside suits. Phone guy says it is because, they think you're an endoskeleton that belongs in one. And then,
sus.
That is sus. You'll see phone guys pretty sus a lot of times. Once we get further into things with more information on the table for the both of us, we'll start talking about who's a reliable narrator and who isn't. But another thing is they've been singing the same songs for 20 years, he says. So that is important to remember, especially later on for timeline scenario, right? So from that, like, what would you extrapolate? Like, what would you guess?
That it's been open for 20 years, I guess. Like,
right, that these characters, right, these animatronics have been around for at least 20 years by the time of FNAF 1, whenever it takes place, right? Keep that in your head, because that gets interesting. But I mean, feel free to take notes on any of the stuff for you too, Legendet, on like a Google Doc or something as we go through. I'll keep track of your theories, but if you want to take any of your notes for just pure information, feel free to do that, because there's every now and then it starts to get to be a lot. Anyway, those are some important things about that one. Now we will move on to night 2.
Hello?
18 seconds of phone call.
Well, if you're hearing this and you made it to day 2, congrats. I won't talk quite as long this time, since Freddy and his friends tend to become more active as the week progresses. It might be a good idea to peek at those cameras while I talk, just to make sure everyone's in their proper place, you know. Interestingly enough, Freddy himself doesn't come off stage very often. I've heard he becomes a lot more active in the dark, though, so hey, I guess that's one more reason not to run out of power, right? I also want to emphasize the importance of using your door lights. There are blind spots in your camera views, and those blind spots happen to be right outside your doors. So if you can't find something or someone on your cameras, be sure to check the door lights. You might only have a few seconds to react. Not that you would be in any danger, of course. I'm not implying that.
No, never.
Also, check on the curtain in Pirate
place on
Cove
Earth, yeah.
from time to time. The character in there seems unique in that he becomes more active if the cameras remain off for long periods of time. I guess he doesn't like being watched. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure you have everything under control. Talk to you soon.
Definitely. All
Honestly,
under control.
Not really anything important in that. That's just kind of gameplay instruction.
Yeah, just teaching you how to play, really.
Yeah. It is weird that he calls, like, the Foxy's in Pirate Cove, right? He just says the character in there instead of just calling him Foxy, which, I don't know, but...
Yeah.
Hey, you're doing great. Hello. Hey, you're doing great. Most people don't last this long. I mean, you know, they usually move on to other things by now. I'm not implying that they died. That's not what I mean. Anyway, I better not take up too much of your time.
We'll talk about that.
Things start getting real tonight. Hey, listen, I had an idea. If you happen to get caught and want to avoid getting stuffed into a Freddy suit, try playing dead. You know, go limp. Then there's a chance that maybe they'll think that you're an empty costume instead. Then again, if they think you're an empty costume, they might try to stuff a metal skeleton into you. I wonder how that would work. Yeah, never mind. Scratch that. It's best just not to get caught. Okay, I'll leave you to it. See you on the flip side.
So, what do you think? Does that beginning thing, Legendet? Do you think that is genuinely implying that other night guards have died on the job at this location?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's been multiple night guards that have come in and they all died.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's something I've never, like, truly taken time to consider. Like, if that implication, which it seems to be, because he's, like, acting all, like, stuttery about it, how many night guards have died at this location?
I know, right? Probably a lot of just random people needing a job.
Yeah, he's probably so sure of them being stuffed, like what they'll do, the behaviors with it is because how other people have died that way, perhaps.
Yeah. Also,
what's weird is, yeah,
they could have just quit right away too. Some of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like I said, that's why it's just like, what do you think? Because here it doesn't have to mean they died for sure. It's just like it feels like, why wouldn't it be more sinister, especially with Phone Guy? But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, wow, day 4. I knew you could do it. Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow. It's been a bad night here. for me. I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you when I did. Hey, do me a favor. Maybe sometime you could check inside those suits in the back room. I'm going to try to hold out until someone checks. Maybe it won't be so bad. Yeah, I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there. You know. Oh no.
Hey, so what happened there?
That was a little freaky.
Yeah. So what do you think the fate of Phone Guy was?
I'm trying to figure out why anyone was knocking. Like, I've never... Like, it was...
Well, so he would have had the doors closed, right? Because, you know, that's
but
like how you survive.
they knock?
Yeah, they'll make little thumping noises against it.
So then you probably just got, like, killed.
Yeah, I probably got eviscerated by an animatronic. That's not that important, but something here, we get a confirmation. Those messages all were recorded for certain, right? Because he says, I'm glad I recorded those messages. So these aren't live phone calls. Yeah. Doesn't seem, it seems these are all messages based on what he said there. It also seems that Phone Guy met his demise at the hands of animatronics. It's interesting because this presumably is a recorded message as well, right? Which means he wouldn't be recording it, right? Like it's not happening live. So whenever he died, it was a little bit ago, right? And he's recording this message for the next night guard, and then it just caught him at his last moments.
The weird thing is, why is there like a phone call ringing if it's not a phone call though?
Maybe it's just how the phone works or something. Like they have it like scheduled, like, hey, you know,
yeah, maybe.
Automatic message. I don't know. That's got to be what it is, right?
Yeah.
This one's interesting. So that
understood.
Was informative, huh?
Assignment understood. I will do my best, sir.
Cool. So at this point, that's when you might start to think that something weird is here, right? Like, that doesn't even feel like a normal animatronic would do that.
Yeah.
Like, perhaps, because we'll get into the things that are more, you know, interesting in a second. But at that point, would you start, like, let's say you didn't know that animatronics were possessed or whatever, would you start to think that something more supernatural is occurring if you heard that on the phone?
I would think there's definitely, like, lore coming now. Like, I'd be interested. Like,
yeah.
What was that?
Like some sort of ghost in the machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, speaking of that, now we can get into the more juicy parts of FNAF 1. The phone calls there, all in all, mostly were for gameplay, but it does sort of provide some just background. Like the Bite of 87, I think, was one of the... It was a big mystery back in the day because it was just one of the bits of like company history that was actually given at the time, you know? And it wasn't elaborated on which animatronic did it. And at the time, there's like almost no evidence either way, so it's like, yeah.
Right.
All right, so there are secrets that appear throughout the game. Actually, I'll show you a YouTube video here right now. That'll show you some odd behavior of the animatronics and how certain things can appear at certain times. See that on the sign?
Yes, it's me.
Hmm. This is a very rare, like, so isn't this creepy?
Yeah, that is terrifying.
So we see there's been like environmental manipulations, certain things in the game that sort of like feels like a glitch, but it's intentional, right? At this point, you should start being pretty certain that something more supernatural is afoot.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh, see
Oh,
the
see it
sign that
there
says
too.
it's me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, see what they turn into?
It definitely feels like someone's trying to pass on a message.
Yeah. And whatever's going on,
I'd
it
be
can literally like
thinking,
warp the physical environment.
yeah, I'd be thinking there's like a ghost or something, or like a monster entity thing that like knew you.
Oh, because the it's me, so like something is trying to
Yeah,
like communicate with you specifically. Yeah.
like someone you knew is like, it's me. Or that, or it's just trying to be creepy, but seeing that there's like lore around.
Right. Yeah, so here are the newspapers. We'll get into those individually after this video, but those will glitch in, sort of like appear. They're not there by default, but they'll appear with like environmental
Ugh.
distortions. Yeah, that's creepy.
Is he wearing
Um,
glasses?
yeah, this I'm not sure if it's real. I don't know. Most like pretty much everything else is. That one I haven't really like known it verified, but the look directly at the camera like that, like yeah. And what do you think of those little dots in the eyes? Like those don't seem natural to me either.
No, they seem like it's like showing there's like magic in them or something. Like I don't even know, like something supernatural.
Yeah. There's an Endo 01 skeleton. It's what's inside the character costume, like the rest of the animatronic. It's like the actual robot parts.
Mm-hmm.
Freddy will do that at times too. I forgot in that poster, yeah. Oh, and that's one of the biggest things of this game and many others for this franchise. It just crashes the game, by the way, after that happens.
That's so crazy. Wait.
I'm
It
sure
like
you heard of that
crashes?
guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Like it crashes.
Golden
That's
Freddy.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, if you get him like that and his face fills the screen, it literally just auto crashes your game.
That's cool.
Yeah. And this is what you get on Game Over. Wait, hold on. We'll back up to see that. So remember what Phone Guy said? Your eyes might pop out, your teeth.
Great.
So seeing as you get this after a game over, like, would you think it implied that your character got like forcefully stuffed inside of these?
Yeah, I would think they like grabbed you and shoved you in, and so you're dead.
Yeah. Depending on exactly what they did to Phone Guy, maybe it was his fate or something too.
Right.
Because he said he always wondered what was in those heads back there. You see all the heads.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this is weird too. This I'm not sure how much it actually matters to the lore because I feel like I heard that it was added like after the fact because it became such a big thing. So it might be more of a neat like meta thing. Like it might not be necessarily important. But if you go to the custom night and you turn the difficulty so that it says 1987, Golden Freddy will jump scare you and crash your game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
From what I've heard, we shouldn't take that too seriously because like it was mostly added as a fun thing. So like I doubt it has a huge lore implication. But if you ever want to use it as one, be my guest at the same time. It's just Golden Freddy, you know, we'll see he matters a lot more than just like years 87 and whatnot. So it seems like it's not explicitly meaning anything.
I mean, based off that, I would probably think that he had something to do with the bite of 87.
Right, like if you just played this game, that's what it was. You know context for anything. Like I would think that's I would literally think he did the bite of 87. And then what's interesting is like he's not there in the main cast, right? Like throughout all the cameras, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When I show you a game earlier, like you never just see him. He only shows up in your office like that, seemingly by teleporting. Like you never see him as part of the main players.
Right.
So what I would assume from that, like, because I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of like I'm just starting the game again. I would assume that like he did the bite of A7 isn't there because he was out of like commission because he bit someone's frontal lobe off, right? And that I wouldn't, whatever you want to say about the teleporting ghostly aspect of him, but yeah. So one of the big things about those Easter eggs too, before we get into the posters, the "It's Me" thing you kind of explained. I liked your take on that when we had like very little information and everything. Now we'll get into each of the newspapers. Kids vanish at local pizzeria, bodies not found. 2 local children were reportedly lured into a back room during the late hours of operation at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza on the night of June 26th. While video surveillance identifying the man responsible and led to his capture the following morning, the children themselves were never found and are presumed dead. Police think that the suspect dressed as a company mascot to earn the children's trust. So, this is the first time real lore starts to kick in. I guess we'll move on to the next one. 5 children are reported missing. Suspect convicted. 5 children are now linked to the incident at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where a man dressed up as a cartoon mascot lured them into a back room. While the suspect has been charged, the bodies themselves were never found. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza has been fighting an uphill battle ever since to convince families to return to the pizzeria, and then in quotes, "It's a tragedy."
Didn't they just say it was 2 when they found the man, and now they're saying it's 5?
Here. This is what they say exactly. 2 children were reportedly lured into the back at late hours of operation, so presumably they either saw that on a camera, right? Because it says, it says while video surveillance identified the man responsible that it was captured the following morning. So 2 children were lured, they knew that, but then the next one says 5 children are now linked to the incident. So whatever happened, 5 kids went missing. 2 they know were lured into the back room. Other 3 are also missing, but they don't necessarily know the specifics, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, it could be, or maybe they just don't know. It's pretty unclear. But keep in mind, okay, so things will come up later. There's certain like I want you to go through them with like a pretty blank slate, so I'm not going to get into different theories of stuff. But I will say some things you want to pay attention to. It says the suspect is convicted, and it said the man was identified. They identified the man responsible and captured him, and that the suspect has been charged. I just want you to keep that in mind as we go forward throughout the series, because that has been a point of discussion. Local pizzeria threatened with shutdown over sanitation. Local pizzeria Freddy Fazbear's Pizza has been threatened again with shutdown reports of foul odor coming from the much-loved animal mascots. Police were contacted when parents reportedly noticed what appeared to be blood and mucus around the eyes and mouths of the mascots. One parent likened them to reanimated carcasses. So I feel like, what does that tell you?
Yeah, I would think they killed the kids and stuffed them in the animatronics.
Yeah, that's where the kids at. Yeah.
That's great.
That's a good image for you. Also, like blood and like mucus coming out, and the police like didn't check for the bodies. Like,
I know. What are the police doing, bruh? They're kind of stupid.
The only thing you could think of, I guess, right now, is like that the Fazbear Entertainment found the bodies first and took them out, but they didn't like clean the animatronics. So, like they smelled awful and still had blood on them. But like if the police were to check, there's like nothing to see really, I guess.
True.
I don't know how much assumptions you want to like make about that, but like that technically maybe something like that could happen. And then final one, local pizzeria said to close by year's end. After a long struggle to stay in business after the tragedy that took place there many years ago, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza has announced that it will close by year's end. Despite a year-long search for a buyer, companies seem unwilling to be associated with the company. These characters will live on in the hearts of kids. These characters will live on, apparently said by the CEO. So there are the 4 newspapers, so we get a pretty good idea now. You want to just kind of give an overview of what happened?
Yeah, basically I'm thinking some guy lured them, killed the kids, stuffed in the body, probably the company found out and took him out but it didn't want to cause like a whole fuss more than it already is, so they just tried to ignore it. But then get caught. I don't know why the guy would want to just do that though, just kill kids and stuff them in bodies. I mean animatronics, but
yeah, because like at this time, yeah, the story is bare bones, right? Like we have like no clue who anyone is really. It's just that it happened. I do want to look at these papers again because, like I said, I've listened to a lot of videos on this stuff, but this is fun for me too because like this is the first time I'm personally like going through everything detail by detail without like listening to someone else talk about it. So 2 were lured to the back room, but like you were saying, 3 of them didn't have to. Well, okay, 5 children now linked, and it says just a cartoon mascot lured them to a back room. So it does double down on all 5 of them being lured.
Yeah, but just as it was linked to that situation, like it says,
Yeah.
5 children are now linked to the incident at Freddy Fazbear's Where, and they're just reminding us.
Oh, true, which is a reference to the last one. You're
so
right.
Doesn't mean
so
that the other 3 had to.
That's interesting. I always just assumed they were all lured, and maybe they were, but like, based off these, like, yeah, 3 don't have to have been lured to the back room and then murdered there. They could have been murdered somewhere else. And like they're like the police are just pretty sure it's the same deal. Either way, they ended up in the animatronics, right? Because it,
right,
that just makes sense.
Yeah, which implies it's the same like guy, because it'd be very coincidental.
Yeah, just 2. Yeah, like each kid has a different murderer. They all had the same idea.
That'd be so random.
So this gets interesting. So. The rest are just kind of paychecks, which are kind of small fry stuff. We'll get to that later. I want to stay on these newspapers for a bit to pick your brain. So, 5 kids went missing, right? There's 4 animatronics. Who's the 5th animatronic that we don't see normally? We were just talking about him.
It's me, guy?
Right, so, okay, what? Golden Freddy, right?
Golden Freddy, sorry.
The big guy, yeah. As we go on, you'll get pretty used to Golden Freddy. He's not getting out of the discussion for a long time coming. But so what? I guess at this point, what I want to wonder about for you is why do you think Golden Freddy is differentiated from the other animatronics? Like they're all there, physically present, attacking you. You're defending them off. They all seem to have kids stuffed inside of them. The kids that went missing. So there's 4 kids in there, but the 5th kid presumably would have been put into Golden Freddy because that's the only other animatronic we have. Why does Golden Freddy seem to teleport? Why is the It's Me associated with it? Why does it crash your game? Like, what's so special about Golden Freddy?
Would not know.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
what?
At this point.
Yeah, at this point I would not have a clue.
So, it did say he dressed up as a cartoon mascot to lure into a back room. Would you at all consider the possibility that maybe he was, like, he wore Golden Freddy and that's what separates it? Like,
yeah, I was just thinking that maybe he wore, maybe like the 5th kid, he was like, wait, I don't have any more animatronics, and he gave it that one, but something was special about the suit. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you're, like, imagine being the kid that was stuffed into the thing that killed you, basically, right? Like, that might just be enough to be weird about it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, narratively. Because, like, right now, it's such a bare bones story, and we know it's supernatural, so stuff doesn't have to make sense. It just has to have a reason. Like, oh, Golden Freddy is weird because the killer wore the suit and then put the final kid that he killed, presumably, into that suit, and now it's all weird because it's...
Exactly.
But why, at this point, why would it be saying, it's me, to us, the Night Guard? Like, what is it trying to convey? Like, I don't know.
Maybe
like,
you happen
at this point in time.
Whoever you are just happens to know who it is, so he's just like, oh, hey, it's me.
Yeah.
Wait, this, like, maybe the guy is being a night guard because he's like, oh, this place, my little brother went missing at or something. I don't know.
like a movie mic kind of thing. Like
exactly.
He is tied to the... Yeah, has some sort of personal reason to be there. Because that was the thing back in the day, too, because, like, you come back every night despite almost being killed by animatronics. So the idea is, like, that there's something more than just a job, unless you're really money-starved. But, yeah. So now we have some paychecks. It's written out to Mike Schmidt. So that is presumably the name of us. You get $120 for the week. So there was some math done for this with like minimum wage, I think, and stuff that MatPat did back in the day. And I'm pretty sure that led to the belief, like, based on what was being paid when, that FNAF 1 took place in 1993. So that's sort of like, at the time, that's just sort of the best date you kind of had to go on. I will say, sort of spoiler,
It
is that
makes
like,
sense
yeah, is that people
with
will
the whole.
contend it now for different reasons. But
Oh,
using this money at this point in time, like, this game just made sense to be at 1993. There's some weirdness now, but I don't know. We'll cover that later on. But
yeah, it would make sense based on how they said the incident of '87. Like that would be like quite a few years like earlier at that point. So
yeah. Oh yeah, actually, yeah. No, I should give that more thought to what you said. So they call it the blight of '87. You wouldn't call it that if it happened recently, right? Like it is an
right.
event of the past, like a big, yeah. That's a good call out to make. Like if it happened like last year, you wouldn't say that. Even like, you know, certainly not. I would say honestly, like you wouldn't call it like the blight of '87 unless it was at least like what, 3 years? Because even 2 years sounds like just say a couple years ago.
Yeah, you just say a couple years ago. It feels like it'd be like quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
And
So it feels like
yeah.
just based off that philosophy, it would have to be like 1990 or above, in my opinion. So that's a good point. Yeah, just based on that. And then if you beat the like the special mode, I think this is the 50-20 or the 6th night. Wait, no, I think you get the 6th night, you get this one, and then beating the 520 mode, you get this. Notice of termination, you're fired. This is gonna sound weird, but pay attention. The reason is tampering with the animatronics, general unprofessionalism, and then odor.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
How's that my fault? Bruh.
Yeah. Well, the odor. So do you
I
think,
think
well,
there was
that's
some odor issues.
you think the odor is probably from the animatronics, right? Like not from the guy.
Yeah.
So at this time, this was only this game. Why, like, tampering with animatronics? Do you think that's even true?
So I would assume that he's like, you as the player are getting too close to finding out the truth about the kids that was like covered up. So they're probably just like, oh, stop, we're firing you. Yeah.
That's interesting. So like they fear like, oh, you might actually know what's up. You're fired.
Because I think if we go based on what we were saying earlier, it's like they took the kids out of the animatronics to try to cover up the whole connection to their store. And so he's like figuring out that they might have been put in there or something. So they're like, stop messing around with the animatronics.
Interesting. That's interesting. Like maybe the night guard was up to stuff. At the same time, it's like if we play his whole shift and he never does anything, but I don't know. Yeah, so I think I don't know if there's anything else to look at with FNAF 1. I'll reference the Ultimate Guide real quick that Hyperdroid wrote up a while ago, because that's supposed to have like everything you need to know on it, but I think that's like pretty much it. Oh yeah, reading this here too, I forgot something I should mention. Foxy's out of order. So we were talking about how that goes into the bite of 87 maybe, because maybe he's put out of order because he committed the bite of 87. So that's another theory in addition to the whole Golden Freddy thing. Yeah, so I guess at this point, to finish up this this episode here, we'll just go over, because I was reading just some of the old theories back in the day. I want to just hear some theories that the internet had about this game, like in the context of only this one being out. So here, yeah, it says an unknown year. Like I said, MatPat really popularized the theory of it being around 1993. That was really popular. Yeah, the main, like we said, the main suspects for 1987. All right, here's an interesting theory. Golden Freddy isn't real was another theory that has genuinely been debated up to this day. A theory that arose because of Golden Freddy's ghostly nature and teleportation abilities, leading people to doubt he even exists physically. What do you think?
I mean, we saw him like sitting on the floor against the desk at one point. That just feels like he at least was there physically at a time like you're playing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, another one. Foxy's a good guy because he doesn't like jump scare you per se. He just stays at the door, peeks in. I don't like why. Like it's just okay. What did it even mean? Like what
Yeah, that
some of
that
those
feels like
small
a
theories.
stretch.
It's just so small.
Yeah,
Like what?
feels
Like
a stretch.
yeah. And this one is
Yeah.
actually interesting. A smaller theory that would leak into the second game too is that Phone Guy is actually the murderer of the missing children, and they kill him for their revenge. I think that's actually, for the time, pretty decent.
I mean, it's a good theory, I guess, but I feel like it wouldn't make sense because they're trying to kill you too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, fair enough. I just think like we only really have like 2 adult characters in this game, and that's you and Phone Guy. So if a character could possibly be the murderer in the game that instead of just being some random person, Phone Guy is really the only guy you could suspect. I feel like though at the same time it said he was convicted and charged and all that, so like would Phone Guy really just like if all that happened to the murderer, would Phone Guy really just be able to be in a position that he could just come back and work as a like influential position at the Fazbear company? Like come on. But that whole line about being convicted and charged that is a consistent weird thing going forward in the series that we'll talk about more later on. But yeah, so sing the same songs for 20 years, right? So if we're thinking it takes place in 1993, you might assume that the company started with the characters at like 1973 if you took the 20 years literally, right?
Yeah.
Which at this time, there's no reason not to, right? Like I would just assume he's correct about that.
That's what I think.
And you'll see I'm being very like disdaining to that because again, like the whole killer being charged and convicted thing, it's one of those things that doesn't fully make sense as we go along. But
yeah,
so we have and what's cool about this, guys, is we're gonna update this little theory list of lore. Like we have a timeline going on, only for FNAF 1 at the moment, but we got the little mysteries we're talking about, and we'll update with each game. It's gonna get like interesting to see how like her mind changes perhaps about things, or the way things get more convoluted as we go through the games. But yeah, so that is FNAF 1. I think we're at an hour, so we'll probably call it there for this episode. We'll do FNAF 2 next time. Any closing thoughts, Legendet, on the first FNAF game?
It's definitely a horror game. I'll give it that.
Yeah. Do you would this story intrigue you? Like, would you want to see more from it? Like, if this, when you play this game, if you know it's the only FNAF game out, you are not sure if the series will continue, you play it, would you be intrigued enough in the story to want it to expand upon itself?
I feel like I would be interested. I wouldn't be that worried about it, but if like I saw that FNAF 2 came out, I'd be like, oh, I'll play it because I want to know what happens. Like, you know.
True. But like, I mean, personally, I feel like this is a pretty self-contained story. Like, if FNAF started with FNAF 1 and ended with FNAF 1, I'd feel like the story is all you need right there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what I was trying to say earlier. I would just think I got to figure it out. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy that bliss, is all I'm gonna say. Enjoy that bliss. All right, yeah. Thank guys for watching the first episode of this new ongoing FNAF investigation on Lauren T with Playmaster and Legendet. I can't wait to see her brain get absolutely rotted with FNAF lore, and for us to have more deeper conversations as I can say more about the lore as she learns more, and we can have perhaps she'll even disagree with me. We can have some arguments over stuff. That'll be pretty interesting. That'll be interesting to see. FNAF 2 is when the story really kind of starts. FNAF 3 is when you sort of have I feel like a lot of avenues for different interpretation. And then FNAF 4, if you're a FNAF fan, you know FNAF 4 is when everything is cooked forever and eternally beyond that point. Oh. So with each episode, Legendet, we're heading to more craziness. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This has been Lauren T. We'll get the episode out. Wait, we'll try to do this once a week, right, Legendet? Once a week? Get one of these out?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
nice. So hopefully we will see you next week, guys. Thanks for watching.